it's Sharon here. Welcome back to my channel for those who are returning, and welcome to any new subscribers that may be visiting for the first time. Now, a couple of videos ago we worked on this collage sheet together, and I actually really love the way it came out. And I'm just getting back to it now, so decided I'd pop the camera on. I'm going to have a little bit of a play with a little bit of mixed media, so not quite sure where it will go, but please join along. So I just want to tear off the excess paper that I have. I'm just going to turn this upside down. I might just use my ruler. And I don't know if you recall, but this was actually on a tea stain file folder. So there's some lovely discoloration on the back, ready for journaling. And it doesn't need to be perfect, but those bigger pieces I just wanted to get out of the way. Okay, I think that will do. As you remember, we used some collage paper from ArtVintages when we made this, which is this beautiful pattern paper here, and some Tracie Fox digitals, which are these here. And they've just lifted the collage so much. I love it. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is add a little bit of gesso over the top. Now, I don't want to go super heavy. So I've just got my brush in some water here. So just taking that and drying it off on some paper towel I have here. And I'm going to get a baby wipe. I just want to have that on standby. I may have to stop the video for a moment and go and hang some washing out. I've been trying to catch up on some blankets, and it's a very funny day here. I'm actually looking out the window now and it's sunny again, but a moment ago I went outside to hang out a load and it was overcast, and I was like, gosh, I hope my towels dry, my blankets, sorry, dry. So I'm just going over, like I said, I don't want it to be a thick layer. I just want to start to move this to the background. I've had these in mind for a while, and I really don't know if what I'm thinking will work, but at the end of the day, you know, I'm sure they will be usable. It's been a while since I've played with some mixed media, so it's quite fun. My brush, sorry guys, my brush has a tendency to shed every now and then, but it is a favourite, so and these pieces here, although I'm covering them, I don't want them to be too heavy, so I do have my wet one at the ready. I'm just going over them ever so lightly just to lift off some of the gesso where I think it's too heavy, and it actually spreads it around nicely, I found. As I said, I just want the gesso to be subtle, and the gesso I'm using is Derivan gesso. It's a water-based gesso. It's available from my local supply shops, so that was why I have that brand here. Anything that's readily accessible that I don't have to go to great lengths to source is fabulous. Okay. I actually feel like I want to water that down a little bit, so I'm just going to put some. I've just got a white tile next to me, and I have this little spray bottle. It's got distilled water in it. Just going to spray. I just want it to be a little bit runnier. That's a bit better, I think. Oh yes, that's much better. I'm sorry if all you're seeing is my brush going around and doing circle work. Oops. I actually saw on one of the mixed media videos that I was watching where they used just a standard, it's a glossy white tile to use as a paint palette, and I thought that was a great idea, and I've actually been looking for one for months and hadn't been able to source one. Anyway, my husband and I went to a shop not far from where we live we were actually looking for second-hand desks. This little shop has lots of, well actually it has lots of everything. It's almost like a second shop for anything that opens and closes to do with homes or offices, or oh gosh, it had everything from carpet to tiles. There were like 2 aisles of tile seconds. They were all like brand new tiles, but yeah, very reasonably priced. And what else did they have? They had doors and metal, and they had fabric, and oh my goodness, it was just, it never ended. They had office furniture and whiteboards and blackboards, and they had books. It was just incredible. It was mind-boggling. And I did feel really bad because, as I said, we were looking for a desk and we didn't really see anything overly suitable. So there was something there that I thought might work, and we decided to come home and think about it. And so all I ended up leaving with was the one white tile, and the poor chappie came to the counter to see if he could help me, and my husband explained to him that I wanted this tile, and I'm sure his face dropped when he realised that that was all I was interested in. I felt really guilty, but that was literally, and it actually made my day. I was so excited to get this tile. But yeah, it wasn't his best sale for the day, that's for sure. I think he charged me 50 cents, which was great for me, but yes, didn't help his little business at all. So, but I was super excited to find it. As I said, I'd been looking for quite some time, so, and using it now, I'm really glad I got it, because it's, somebody had said, when I watched this video and they'd suggested using something like this for a paint palette, they were saying that the white surface is one way of getting the true colour that you're mixing. So if you're mixing paints, that's how you can actually see the true colour of what you're mixing, which is quite right. if you're mixing it on something it's got other tones in it, then obviously those tones will come through the paint when you're looking at it to decide whether or not you've got the colour right. So okay, I love the subtleness of that. I love that it's not really bright white. Just using up what I've got here. And that will actually add a little bit of a seal over the papers. So some of the papers are printed papers, and my printer is an inkjet, not a laser jet. So that will help seal the papers a little bit too for my next layer. So just rinsing my brush off. I'm just going to pop the lid back on my gesso. And I am going to quickly just dry that off a little bit more. Just going to wipe down my tile. So if anybody like me hasn't been able to get themselves one of those amazing glass craft boards yet, and they love the idea of the white surface that's on there for mixing colours and paints and inks and the like, see if you can find yourself a tile. Works a treat. Okay, so that's ready for the next round. I'm just going to quickly go over this with the heat gun. It won't take long, so watch your ears if you're having the earphones because it can be loud. Okay, here we go. Okay, now I have thought to myself about using gouache, but I've got some watercolour here. I might have a little play with some watercolour, I think. And they're just your basic colours. It's not an expensive set. The set is by Microjaw, in case you're interested. Make sure that that's focused so that you can see. And I'm pretty sure I've picked up these sets in my local cheap shops and places like that. And I'm hoping to try and emulate some of the colours in the paper pack that, as you can see, I haven't used. So this is Perusian blue. Prussian blue, sorry. I'm adding extra letters to the word. This one is violet. Oops, oops. Let's see if I can rescue that off my table. This one was open, I'd already used it before. And I've probably got way more there than I need, but never mind. What other colours do I want? Oh, must have it on my fingers. I'm putting it everywhere. Thank goodness for paper towel. That one's been leaking or something, so he's hoping it works. Oh dear. Got to get the lid on fast. And you could use just the powdered watercolour if you'd prefer. This is just what I have on hand. The only powdered watercolours I have are children's watercolours, so looks like this one's leaked as well. Not quite sure why that's happening with them. This one almost looks a little bit dry. So this one's a yellow ochre or ochre. And I do want a green. I think I'll go with this sap green. And a good amount of white, because I want to mute the colours. And I may need to get more of that. Just making sure I'm in camera. Oh yes, not too bad. Okay, now I have a little cup here to rinse my brush off, and I just remembered I hadn't filled it. So I just have some distilled water for rinsing. That's all I'm using. And my ArtSpace doesn't actually have a sink in it, so I do have a sink area outside that I use for my art and craft, which is fabulous, but I kind of have to go through a couple of rooms to get there. So okay, my hands are sticky, I'm not quite sure why. Okay, well, I've got colour on here too. So I've just got these water brush pens. I think that's what they're called. I purchased them online. It's a set, and I've used one. I'm not quite sure with the move where I've put that, but as you can see, they have different thicknesses. So I've grabbed the two thicker ones out of there just to have a little play with. So like I said, haven't done this before. I'm hoping it works. So I can push to get a little bit of water into my brush, or, oh, here it comes, I can see it. Okay, so just want to have a play. As you can see, I'm going to have way too much paint on here. Okay, and I'm literally just going to add splashes of colour in here. No rhyme or reason. Just having a play because I can, really. Okay. Actually, I love the way that colour meshes with that. I didn't realise that. That's awesome. And they will be subtle, so that's what I'm looking for. Okay. And you can see the way that paint, although it's starting to dry off a little bit, is lifting off. Might add a little bit of extra white up here. It's just lifting off the tile. So I'm thinking if I let the paints dry on the tile, I can come back to them later on and reactivate them with a bit of water too, which is fabulous. Okay, I'm just referencing the colour in my paper pad. I've got it to my left. For those of you who haven't seen it or don't recall, this is the paper pad that I'm using. It's a Stamperia. So it's one of two Stamperia pads that I'm using for my next two journals. So I'm really just referencing the colours in that and trying to get a little similarity. This is quite therapeutic actually. Okay, and I just want a little more of that colour up here. I actually love the softness of that, adding that water to the brush just brought, so that's kind of what I was looking for. So I might just see if I can tone these down a little bit. I might actually try lifting a little bit of that colour off. I love the way the blotting is actually making a more subtle effect too. Lots of fun. So just rinsing my brush. That now looks purple. I might have a little play with the green. I think I want more of an aqua. Although there is a really pretty blue and green in the birds here. So, but see this pretty aqua here. So we'll have a little play. So I'm just taking some of this green. A little bit of the white. I'm hoping you can see that colour. Actually, I might I think you can see now. Sorry about that, guys. So I'm pretty happy with that colour with this here. So I'm just going to get this blotting paper. I might move this back across. Sorry, you've seen the colour now. It's kind of in my way. I want the colour there, but I want it to be subtle. It almost matches the map that I've got there. I think I took too much of that away. I'm really just playing, guys. Okay. Now I am going to give that a little bit of a dry, I think, before I move to my next colour. I'm getting quite a few colours on there, so just bear with me for a moment while I turn the heat gun on. I'm thinking where these purples are, which was kind of, you know, the pinks and purples were the first couple of colours I tried. The purple's a little bit too loud for me, so I may end up popping a little bit more gesso over that, but we'll see how we go. So I want some of this white. Oh, I just lost it. Might get some more. Try this blue, which is very dark, so I'm thinking I probably don't need a lot of it. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay. How are we for colour, guys? Kind of mixing with that there. It's a little bit brighter than that. Thinking maybe I want it just a fraction darker. Sorry, I've just got a stray bristle. Just realised that I'm probably off camera. So you can see what I'm doing. Sorry about that. I think I'm getting closer to the colour I want. Okay. I think I like that tone. If you have a look at the blues here. So okay. No rhyme or reason. I'm just where I think there's a spare spot, that's where I'm adding the colour. And I am just blotting it off slightly to get a bit more subtleness to the colour I'm putting on here. Okay. I'm going to try and mix these two together. Sorry, I'm off camera again. I just need a bigger viewing area for you guys, I think. So I'm just taking the green and the blue that I've got left. Just seeing if I can get a little bit of an aqua type tone. How does that fare? I think I quite like that. A little bit more green perhaps. I think that's closer, so we'll go with that. Goodness, time flies when you're having fun. I just looked at how long we've been going for. It's almost half an hour already. There is a distinct amount more water in this than in previous colours, so I may use the heat gun as I go, I think, to set it. So just bear with me, guys. I wasn't actually sure if I was going to see a real distinction between the blue and the green and that aqua, but it's actually quite noticeable. So this is the aqua and this is the blue, and the green is here, so I'm hoping you can see that there is a distinct difference between those colours. Okay, so I just want to add a little bit more of this aqua. I think I need a second tile, I just decided. I'd like to gesso over the top of this again, I'm thinking. And I will need a spot on my tile to add the gesso so I can water it down. But I'd like to keep those watercolours for next time. As I said, I think they'll dry okay on there, and then I can just reactivate them with water. Okay, turning the heat gun on again. Okay, so I just need to find myself a spot on this tile, down in this corner I'm thinking, to add my gesso. And again, I don't need a lot. A little bit goes a long way. Just spraying it with some distilled water just to thin it out. I'm feeling a little confined right now. I'm trying not to get near that green. Now I just don't know if this will reactivate the watercolour, so I'm just going to go ever so gently. I do want that colour to still show through, and I want the papers to show through as well. Okay. I've been a little bit nervous about doing this on camera. I don't know whether it's because I haven't played with mixed media for so long. So the idea of playing was fine, but the idea of playing it where everybody can see me, a little bit overwhelming. Just kind of checking my brush to see if I've got any colour residue coming off that. And it doesn't appear that I do, so that's awesome, because I really wasn't sure if it would lift the paint, but it's not looking too bad. I am only brushing very softly and just going in like a crisscross just to add some different brush strokes, which again adds interest for the eye. I watched a couple of YouTube videos while I was having some lunch earlier and more inspiration, more ideas. You guys are incredible. Sarah from the Mushroom Market. I watched a couple of your previous videos and oh my goodness, I cannot wait to have a play. And in actual fact, I had thanked Sarah for her mention of the Bookfest in a previous video and mentioned that I'd sourced one close by so that I could go and get myself some little treasures recently. And she mentioned she was going to duck over to my channel to have a look, and I got really nervous, so I came in here to craft because I didn't want to have to think about it, basically. It's kind of like being starstruck. It's like, oh my gosh. So I hope it didn't disappoint, but yeah, I was overwhelmed. I just wanted to let her know that I was really appreciative, because without her YouTube video and her sharing, I would never have thought to look for something like that in my area. So I was incredibly grateful. And I did share my haul in a previous video recently, so that was lots of fun. Okay. I'm actually really surprised that the gesso, especially given that I've watered it down, hasn't lifted off any of the watercolour. I almost decided to use gouache, which is kind of a cross between a watercolour and an acrylic paint, because it's more colour set when it dries, but I wanted the subtle tones of the watercolour, and the gouache is just that little bit more vibrant, so I decided to go with the watercolour after all, and I'm really glad I have, because it actually didn't lift or shift like I thought it might. Okay, so I'm literally just trying to use up the last of the gesso. And I'm just going over those purple, which are a little bit more vibrant than the other colours. I perhaps should have watered that colour down a little bit more, but that's okay. Okay, and I might just pop the heat gun over that. Watch your ears. Okay, right then, so I might just check the time. I'm thinking I might do the next part in a second video, or it will actually be the third video. I'll just show you the tones of this paper. So they are quite subtle. That gesso has definitely pushed those tones to the background, which I really love. But you can still see all of the beautiful colours, even the colours in this printed paper with the collage papers of Tracie Fox and ArtVintages. You can still see the colours coming through. So I'm really loving the effect. Okay, so I might turn the camera off and just clean up my desk, and we'll see if we can move forward to the next part. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. See you soon. Happy crafting.